Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead. I'm going to do some playing again today. I'm going to develop another recipe. You're going to need a cup of peanut butter, a cup of butter, a cup of white sugar, a cup of brown packed sugar, 2 eggs, 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a cup of cocoa, and 1 cup of chips, your preference. I have milk chocolate. Let's start with our sugars and our butters. So here's 1 cup or a half a pound of butter and 1 cup of peanut butter. It's quite warm in here today, so everything's rather soft. Now, let's put the cowgirl down and lock her into place and put her on stir. All right. Now we're going to need 1 cup of sugar, white. You can use raw if you like. Let's get a little closer here. And then we're going to want 1 cup of brown sugar packed. Oops. Now we're going to turn this up to 2. Now if you're not using a really cool mixer like I am, you might want to beat your eggs first, but I'm just going to drop mine in there and let them get beaten in by the beater. Now for our flour, we're going to do 2.5 cups of flour, and I'm going to put it in this bowl so that we can kind of mix the baking powder in. There's 1, and there's 2, it's going to be close, and there's a half. And we'll leave this little guy out here so that we can put it in nice and slow. Now we're going to use, this is 1/3 of a cup, but I'm going to wing it. Before we get started, I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup, and then a bit, so a half a cup of my favorite cocoa, which is a nice dark red cocoa. Get that going in there. And in our flour, we're going to add a teaspoon of baking soda. Can you guys all see what I'm doing here? And a teaspoon of baking powder. And I just sift these together. Isn't that nice? Let's just have a look here. Oh, doesn't that look rich? And not all the cocoa got stirred in, so I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Now we're just going to start adding in our flour a little bit at a time, giving it a chance to cream. I'm making double chocolate peanut butter cookies, Papa.
Yay.
Now, before we put in the rest of our flour, let's dump in a cup of chocolate chips. And I think I may need the dough hook. Let's switch out beaters. And let's put her back down. Lock her into place. And let's drop in the rest of the flour. Okay, I believe this is ready. So let's turn her off. And just look at this beautiful dough. Look at that. Now that's beautiful cookie dough. All right, I'm going to meet you guys at the table. We're going to put some of these on a sheet. Okay, we have a really big recipe. Big for this house. I'm not the baker I used to be, but this is a really big recipe. So once I have all my cookies on the sheet, I'm going to show you what we used to do at the bakery. All right, let's do our hands here. And we are just going to, let's get this a little closer. We're going to do a cookie ball, of course. And when I get to the end, I will push them all down with a fork. But I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. All right, when I have all these, when I have a tray full of these, we will be back. Now, as you can see, I've rolled them in balls and I've pressed them with a fork, and now we're going to pop them in the oven at 325 degrees for 8 to 12 minutes, depending on your oven. All right? Okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to take the rest of this cookie dough and we're going to put them away for another day. Now, I could bake them. I know I could bake them off and put them in the freezer. But you know, folks, they would get eaten. So what I do is what we used to do at the bakery. One of my jobs at the bakery was I did make cookies. And we would roll them. Of course, every cookie ball was weighed, of course. But we would roll them into balls of the appropriate weight. And then we would line a tray with parchment. And then we would freeze them so that we had, whenever it came time to, every day when we made fresh cookies, we would take these out of the freezer to thaw. We would fill a tray, not fill it, but we would put enough on a tray. And when they thawed, we would just press them down with a fork and bake them off. Alrighty, we'll be back when our cookies come out of the oven. Now while Wolfie's out finishing the chores, see if I can do this one-handed like I used to in the old days. These are amazing. Now you can go ahead, if you like, and add walnuts or pecans or butterscotch chips or peanut butter chips or peanuts. You really want a wow factor? Add a handful or a half a cup full of macadamia nuts to these. It will drive your friends bonkers. Wait till Wolfie comes in. Angus, what are you hoping for? You can't have cookies. Chocolate's bad for puppies. That's not good for the baby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just where do you think you're going, mister?
Take a break.
Not with that entire plate of cookies, you're not.